We are standing in Philadelphia checking out filming locations for what was the #1 top grossing horror movie of all time for about 20 years, The Sixth Sense, until Stephen King's movie It came out in 2017.
That's right, it spent 18 years as the top horror movie of all time, although it's not really the type of horror movie you would think of as a horror movie nowadays, where a bunch of people are dying, a bunch of people are getting killed. It's a little different. Psychological horror. Matter of fact, Bruce Willis sat on this very bench right here during the making of the film. We got a bunch of places to show you. We're going to go all around and find all the filming locations we can find from The Sixth Sense, and we cordially invite you to come along for the adventure.
Come along. We are starting our search with the house that Bruce Willis lived at in the movie.
That's right. Now, spoiler alert. Turn it off now if you haven't seen the movie.
Right now.
All right. This is the house he also died at right at the beginning of the movie. First of all, German just told us this house right here was used in the movie Trading Spaces. So that's pretty interesting. All right, so back to The Sixth Sense. Of course, his former patient, Vincent, showed up, played by Donnie Wahlberg, and he's in his underwear, he's in his bathroom, and Bruce is like, what's going on in here? Dr. Malcolm Crowe. It turns out it was one of his former patients. Eventually, he remembered who it was, and he shot him. Of course, that ended up killing him, and he went throughout the whole movie not realizing he was dead, until the very end, because of course the boy Cole could see dead people. You remember Bruce, Dr. Malcolm Crowe, looking out from his basement? Not right there, but we're coming up to it right now. The actual house that was used in the movie is right here in front of us.
Dr. Crowe's house was the one with the green door, right here. In the movie, you can see him looking out his basement window. However, the homeowner told us there actually isn't a basement in the house, and most of the interior scenes were filmed elsewhere, which we'll show you in a bit. Cole Sear, who is played by Haley Joel Osment, actually lived right here in this apartment building. What's really interesting is that Haley played in the movie Forrest Gump as Forrest Gump Jr.
That's where he got his first big break. Now, this has changed a little bit from the movie. Back then, on the door, there was a big glass window all through here, and it said Garden Court Apartments on it. Also, it was white around here, and the 2302 was tilted in a little bit of a diagonal direction like that. Also, the window over here has changed a little bit as well. There and up there. Just a little bit, though. Very, very similar. This is where Cole Sear first made his appearance in the movie, walking out of this door right here and looking out. Of course, the doctor was waiting for him over here, played by Bruce Willis, Dr. Malcolm. We're gonna walk right over here to the bench. Now, what's interesting about this bench is it's still here from the movie. That's because the movie actually brought this bench in. I'm throwing my phone around. The movie brought this bench in as a prop for the movie, and then they left it here after seeing the movie. It's so cool to still see it right here. This is the one Bruce Willis sat in as he was looking over at Cole.
There's a view of this garden area in the movie. It sure is beautiful. And of course, Dr. Crowe sat here on this bench with his notebook opened up in his lap as he kept looking up to see what Cole was up to.
When Cole comes out of his apartment right there, he notices Dr. Malcolm Crowe, of course, sitting on the bench over there, so he decides it's time to take off and get away from Dr. Crowe.
Cole takes off running right through this area here where Heather is running now. And then he ends up at this church right here.
Cole walked right up to these doors and opened them. He used the church as a bit of a safe haven during the movie where he would go and he would feel safe.
That's right, and these doors were red in the movie. They looked a little bit different, though. I'm not sure if that was something they added in through computer graphics or if the door was just different at the time. But anyway, the color red was very important in this movie. Tell us in the comment section below why you think M. Night Shyamalan used the red, what it represented in the movie. A story about Haley Joel Osment and how he got this part. There were 3 reasons. Number 1, he was the best actor. Number 2, he was the only boy to show up wearing a tie for auditions. And number 3, M. Night Shyamalan was amazed that he had read his part 3 times. He said, "You've read it 3 times the night before auditions?" And Haley Joel said, "Actually, I've read the entire script 3 times." That struck a chord to M. Night Shyamalan.
The interior church scenes were shot here as well, but we can't get into the church today.
We're now standing in front of Cole's school from the movie. Of course, at one point in the movie, he was standing right out here on the road looking at the school. That gate would have been open right there, and the door was open right there. Eventually, he made his way inside and settled into class where his teacher said, "What city was the nation's capital between 1790 and 1800? None of the kids knew the answer. Eventually he said, "It's the city we live in." Of course, it was Philadelphia. So it kind of spotlighted Philadelphia for a moment there in the film. Of course, a lot of the film spotlights Philadelphia. Now, after that, Cole says to the teacher, "They used to hang people here." The teacher's like, "No, they didn't, Cole." He's like, "Yes, they did." And he said, "And you used to stutter. Stuttering Stanley, stuttering Stanley, stuttering Stanley." Got the teacher pretty wound up. Pretty crazy moment in the movie.
Here is the location where the birthday party for one of Cole's classmates took place. Inside, Cole watches a red balloon get loose and go up to the top of the staircase. He follows the balloon and hears voices from inside a door at the top of the stairs. Then he gets locked in the dungeon before his mom comes, and he is able to escape. We are now walking up the street where Dr. Malcolm and Cole walked.
Yeah, this is where they came upon, or there was a group of Little League players or something like that walking across the street right here. We know this because the bush was in it. Some of these buildings you could clearly see in it, and that stop sign right there was also in it.
Now we're in the alleyway where Dr. Crow took off after throwing a block through his wife's window.
That's right, he broke the window because he saw her getting a little too friendly with one of her co-workers. Now we know this spot because you can see that blue awning back there, and then come right on over here. You'll notice this area right here, which can be seen in the film as well.
We are now standing at the place that used to be a store where Dr. Crow's wife, Anna, actually worked at in the movie. And there was a point in time where you'd see her standing right here by the stairs. The retail space that they used for the movie looks empty now. We are now standing in front of Shiloh Baptist Church, which is the same church Cole and his mother sat in front of in the movie when they were stuck in a traffic jam due to an accident up ahead.
Yeah, they were parked right in there somewhere. We know this because you can see these doors behind us. That one right there and that one right there. Plus that covering over the door right there is also very clear in the movie. Now this is where Cole says, "I want to communicate with you now." And his mother says, "Okay." And he says, "You know that accident up ahead? Someone got hurt. A lady, she died." His mom said, "Where is she?" He said, "Standing outside my window."
The church has been here since 1945. Cole and Dr. Malcolm took a bus ride to see the dead girl and drove by this building right here. They then rode by the cemetery here. A tree which you can see in the movie has died since and has been carved into a historical figure. We now made our way on over to the house where the family gathered either before or after the girl's funeral.
This was the sick little girl, of course, that showed up, and Cole saw her throwing up in his tent, and then finally he decided to talk to her. Of course, Bruce Willis and Cole walked down the street here, would come across the grass somewhere right in here and over here. Of course, the mother was being consoled right over here by the vehicle. And then you can see on the very corner of the shot, this little walkway right here, where they walk up here into the house. And we know then that the swing would have been right here.
While inside this house, the girl gives Cole a VHS tape with proof on it that her mother had poisoned her. In doing so, her sister's life was spared. Cole talks to her sister right here on the swing in this spot. We are now at Bergdahl Mansion, which has been turned into luxury apartments.
Beautiful old mansion building. Now, we heard from a local that this is where they shot the interior scenes of Dr. Malcolm Crow's house. And you can also see here, there is a basement area to look out of with the black grate on it and a squirrel.
Here's a look inside. Although it does look similar to some of the interior shots of Dr. Crow's home, we have not been able to confirm for sure it was shot here. This is Swan Memorial Fountain. Typically water is spraying everywhere, but it's closed right now for COVID. A creepy close-up of this statue was shown in the film. This movie got nominated for 6 Academy Awards.
And man, that surprise ending, it surprised me greatly. I knew there was a surprise ending coming up, but I didn't know what it was. And it was pretty shocking. Y'all be sure to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you can come along with us on future adventures.
Come along.